In a masterclass of political wit, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney delivered a subtle but sharp critique of U.S. President Donald Trump during a high-profile speech at the 2025 Toronto International Film Festival, TIFF. The event, held ahead of the premiere of John Candy I Like Me, a documentary celebrating the late Canadian comedy icon, became a stage for Carney to weave a clever analogy between Candy's film roles and the current geopolitical tensions between Canada and the U.S. But here's where it gets controversial. Was this a lighthearted nod to Canadian resilience, or a veiled warning to a U.S. leader who's repeatedly tested the limits of cross-border diplomacy? Let's unpack the layers of this diplomatic dance. Carney opened his remarks by acknowledging the growing global climate of division and intolerance, framing it as a direct threat to Canada's sovereignty and national identity. His words carried a dual meaning as he referenced John Candy's signature comedic persona, charming, folksy, and seemingly harmless, only to pivot to a darker theme. When Canadians hear threats to their identity, they channel their inner John Candy, Carney said, adding, they stand up, elbows up, and write their own lines. The audience erupted in applause, recognizing the implicit reference to Trump's recent policies and rhetoric. And this is the part most people miss. Carney didn't stop there. He drew a direct parallel between Candy's on-screen moments of defiance and Canada's real-world response to Trump's provocations. In many of John's films, there's always that scene where he's pushed too far, and then he pivots, Carney said. A clear jab at Trump's Liberation Day tariffs, a 25% tax on Canadian goods, and his flirtation with annexing Canada as the 51st U.S. state. Don't push a Canadian too far, he warned. The crowd laughed, but the message was unmistakable. Canada would not back down. To clarify for newcomers, Trump's Liberation Day tariffs, announced in April 2025, have sparked fears of economic retaliation and job losses in Canada. Meanwhile, his offhand remarks about Canada becoming the 51st state, uttered during a May Oval Office meeting, were met with a firm but diplomatic rebuttal from Carney. Canada isn't for sale, he declared, adding that the nation's strength lies in its partnerships, not its land. Trump, ever the provocateur, countered with his trademark, never say never, hinting that even the unthinkable might become possible. But let's get real. Was Trump's 51st state comment a serious policy proposal or just political bluster? And does Carney's film-themed metaphor truly reflect Canada's strategy, or is it a calculated distraction from deeper economic vulnerabilities? The debate is already brewing online, and we want to hear your take. Should nations respond to aggression with humor and symbolism, or is it time for direct confrontation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. As the festival closed, one thing was clear. Carney had turned a celebration of Canadian culture into a subtle but powerful statement of national pride. In an era of escalating tensions, his message was simple yet profound. Canada might smile, but it will never be pushed too far.